Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's our weekend roundup as we check in with all our teams to see how they got on. I'm Stephen Brown and joining me on tonight's show, we've got Stephen Downs, Jason Booker, Gareth Walker and Chris Bell. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching along on X, please do like it, retweet it. And if you're listening again later on Spotify, please do leave us a rating and a review. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we all tonight?
Not bad, mate.
Are we all recovered from yesterday?
I'm still a bit sore. I'm still a bit achy, I won't lie. Calves are a bit stiff and hips are a bit achy.
I got more sore as the day's gone on. I don't know about you. I started off okay. I woke up, I was like, I actually feel all right, apart from the ankle, which I don't think I've mentioned before.
But, I had a nap this afternoon.
Did you have a nap? Oh, I'm jealous.
I had a nap. 3-hour nap.
Yeah, so we'll bring people into the loop. So yesterday, if you've not seen across our social media, it was Avi Fest at Bradford Park Avenue. So they were holding a bit of a festival day, so there was loads going on. And there were a couple of 11-a-side football matches as well. And some of us boys were involved. Yes, the West Yorkshire Football Show was representing. We were playing for the Bradford Park Avenue fans against Bradford Park Avenue ex-professionals, manager Danny Whittaker, people much better than ourselves. So we thought what we'd do before we get Gareth and Chris, who were in attendance but weren't playing. Chris bottled it massively, but we were.
I'm tired, and all I did was watch. Like, I'm knackered today.
Well, they're going to give us their West Yorkshire Football Show man of the match as well. I've got some clips here as well, so we're gonna have a little breakdown. We've got some highlights and lowlights. So we're going to start on a very, very positive one. So this happened quite early in the game, did this? And it's our very own Downsy with a cheeky little nutmeg. Check this out. Here we go. Straight through his legs. Didn't manage to get the ball after he got it through his legs, but still, that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I just couldn't catch up with it. Like, I'd done the hard work, and I think he looked behind him. We're like, who's this? Quite hefty lad that's just managed to megs me. I think that chap, the number 9, he plays quite regular. So I was pleased with that. I was disappointed that I didn't get on the end of the ball, but the actual action was fantastic.
Yeah, indeed. Just to set up this next clip, I just want to remind if people are not aware of this clip or if they've not seen it before, but it just nicely sets up a moment from yesterday's show.
It's broken for Giacchino. We've only got 2 defenders back. Round the ball then. Bobby Moore. Now Muller is coming. Giacchino going all the way to the zone, and Moore stops it.
Here we go. So that's Bobby Moore tackling Giacchino in the 1970 World Cup. So just bear that in mind. Bear that in mind, because here we go. Check this out from yesterday. Here we go. Number 5 coming on. Oh, look, I'm just waiting at it. Boom! Come on. Bobby Moore.
Brownie, I'm so glad someone else got it, because I was meant to be filming it and I missed that bit, didn't I? So I'm glad that someone else picked it up.
That's absolutely wrecked my ankle as that. Honestly, it's swollen and everything today. The one good thing I did all match, and it absolutely broke me.
You are like Bobby Moore. You are.
Exactly.
You are Bobby Moore.
Exactly, yeah. But I've got to show, the flip side as well. And this, to be honest, this doesn't reflect well on, I think, either me or Lewis as well. I'm dragging Lewis down to my level. Here we go. Oh, see that? I just sung out a leg. Lewis, number 7 there. He's just kind of wandering around, letting half the team run through him. But yeah, I did the old leg dangle.
Wait, Lewis is tracking back. He's like that Marcus Rashford against Luton a couple of months back, where was slating him for not tracking back. That's even worse.
Well, let's just run that again, because it just makes me laugh. Lewis just stands there. He's just not bothered. And I just dangle out a leg in the most pathetic attempt. Do you know what's funny though? Like, he seemed to be coming at me 100 miles an hour, and then when I watch it back, I'm like, no, it was fine.
Slow motion.
Lovely little piece of play. This is a little bit of interlinking play between our West Yorkshire Football Show boys, Jason and Lewis. Lovely bit of play here. Well, actually, it's got Steve involved as well. So Steve bringing the ball out, plays off a nice little ball. Knocked inside here. And then look at Lewis. Mr. Composure, by the way. Look at him. Not in a rush, is he?
I'm doing anything.
Jason straight back. One touch.
Look at that
Lewis,
1-2. Beautiful
on the wing
pass.
there. And then a lovely little ball down the wing there. Mr. Sale sets up a chance here, unfortunately. One of probably our few chances first half, would we say? I mean, we did well though. We hung in, didn't we?
I can't lie, Harry would do my head in. The lad who crossed the ball then, he would do my head in because, like, just relieve some of the pressure off us, man. Like, you know what I mean? Hold the ball up a little bit. But,
yeah.
You know.
Jason, we had to clip this up, mate. We had to clip this up. Talk us through this one.
I don't really want to. You know what? If I knew it were recorded, I would have probably just smashed through it, I think.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, the fact that there was no wall actually threw me off a little bit.
You've also got to note the referee, by the way, pint in hand. The referee. I'm not saying we're taking it seriously, right?
It's got. Oh, we cut off the end. Oh well, it's done you a favour that on it, to be honest.
The no wall did throw me off a little. It were a good 5 yards over the bar. I will say that it wasn't one of my best efforts. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Another one for me, actually. My cheeky little dummy. Remember this one, Jason? This was a little bit of play between you.
Mate, honestly, I gasped so much. Play it again. Do it right from the beginning again.
Yeah, you were loving it, weren't you, Jason?
Do it again from the beginning because it was a nice little build of play as well.
It was. Look, it's lovely. Then
it was so good. It was so good in the moment. Yeah, it was good.
Loved it.
I'm fairly sure at that stage I turned to Gaz and was like, he's just missed his touch there, hasn't he?
You did.
No, it was definitely intentional.
I
could tell by the way that he received it. It was brilliant.
Yeah. And then finally, we could not get through the highlights without including this one. This was probably our shining moment from the day. Here we go. Mr. Downs with the penalty. Look at this. No problem at all. Left foot, bang, straight up. And then check this out. The Ray Houghton roll coming up. Yes. Fantastic. There we go. But it was brilliant, wasn't it? And then we had a little post-match curry afterwards. It was fantastic. Chris, Gaz, watching from the sidelines, then what did you make of it all?
It was a sight to behold. It was genuinely fantastic. I mean, I'll be honest, as everyone knows, obviously Steve is registered blind, and I did not expect to see a blind man put away a penalty quite like that, let alone play, to be fair, 60 minutes of football as well. Like, fair play to you, Steve. Like, superb.
Cheers.
Yeah, fair play to all of you, to be fair. Sorry, go on, Steve.
I was knackered at half time. I said to Brownie, like, have we got any subs? And we looked around, like, no subs. So
fair play to all of you, because I couldn't have done that. And we did comment at one point about how the heat map of the game would have been entirely in the half of the support in your half of the pitch, because there wasn't much attacking going on at the other end. But fair play to you, because I couldn't do it. And when that young lad appeared at half time and said, "Can I play?" Well, I'm sure they'll let you play, because they're all knackered and they want to come off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was quite competitive, wasn't it? I say competitive. It was like Gaz said, it was very much the ball in half, but we hung on, didn't we, for a good 20 minutes or so?
We did all right, I thought.
I thought we did all right. I thought we certainly were respectable, and considering the level of opposition, I mean, they had some good players in that team. We were a bit of a mishmash put together. I mean, we only had 7. When we were in the changing rooms, we had to draft a few in last minute. Yeah. So I think we did all right, boys.
Shout out to Jay's son as well. Did Megger in net for us. I think he made some great saves. And I mean, I loved the bit at the end where he was taking the mickey out of their number 9, saying that he'd not scored enough against him. Absolutely tops banter was that. And
to be fair, you lads were holding him for a draw, and then your lad mate in goal blatantly got fouled for the first goal. So I mean, I reckon if that hadn't gone in, you might have hung on even longer.
I weren't that kind about it, guys. I told him he should have taken his head off. So
it was like something from '60s when he just barged keeper into it back at goal.
It's a learning moment.
And that striker was at least like 6'1". He probably couldn't reach you at that stage.
I did feel a little sorry for him. I mean, my lad is like 6 foot, but because he's quite slight and he's not built into his body yet, it looked like a midget in comparison to that number 9, didn't he? So he did all right. He did all right, did the lad.
Well, it was a good day. It was a good day all round. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully, Bradford Park Avenue made a bit of money from it as well, which I think. You know, we spoke to Lou afterwards, and sort of Lou was saying throughout the day that there was plenty of families there and that, and you know, which was really good for the, you know, for the future of the club, and it'd be good to see them do sort of similar, even if on a smaller scale, on match days themselves, really.
Yeah, Brownie. I mean, have you got? Because obviously, Gaz did a post-match interview with the four of you that played. Have you got that? Have we got that to play out?
We don't actually have that on here, unfortunately. I know. It will be. I am going to be putting something together though, as like a diary of the day, so it will make it onto that. But yeah,
we can't show it all out, can we?
Exactly. Yeah, we could play the whole match if you want. We got the full footage. Do you know what we don't have though? We don't have Danny Whittaker's lob from like 40 yards or whatever it was. Now, I've checked it because the other chap that was recording it, it's just not there for some reason, or I must have missed it. But yeah, unfortunately, otherwise we would have been playing that as well. Now, Gaz, Chris, are you going to reveal your man of the match and your West Yorkshire Football Show man of the match now or after Lewis's interview with Danny Whittaker? Do you want a couple of minutes to think about it?
I'll be honest, we haven't really decided. Like, we haven't conversed between us, so I'm just hoping that there's going to be some psychic link here. The same person.
Yeah, I mean, we have got a private chat function on here if you really want to.
Yeah, you lads have a chat while we watch the interview.
That's what we'll go for, because I mean, go on, guys. I'll let you.
Well, I was split between two. I think I said after game I was split between two, but I don't know what you were thinking, Chris.
Well, I'm torn because on the one hand, you've got, to be fair, Steve played a full 60 minutes and bagged his penalty really well, but equally, I think Jay was the one running the midfield for the fans team. So I'm a little bit split between the two of them, to be honest.
Well, I were between Steve because he scored the goal and Jay's lad because some of the saves that he made were outstanding.
You can't give it to my lad over me.
On that basis, though, we need to give it to Downsy because he was both mentioned by us there.
Yeah, I needed the forward row, which was the highlight of the afternoon. Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make a habit of being too nice to Downsy too often on this pod, but I got to say, and I said it to you yesterday, hats off to you to be able to just even function in that environment when you can only see a few feet in front of your face. I just think it's an unbelievable sort of mentality, and fair play to you, mate, because I don't think many could do it. I won't even put my hands up for it. Agreed. So, yeah, unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable.
Agreed.
100%. The opposition scored, I think it was at least five or six, and they didn't celebrate any of their goals, and you went full forward roll to celebrate yours. Like, the game, fair play.
Yeah, it was a spur of the moment. I used to do that celebration when I scored in junior football years ago. So yeah, I can't do knee slides and all that sort of thing. But a forward roll's like classic PE sort of teacher-esque, celebrations, isn't it?
Yeah, you definitely don't knee slide on 4G either. You'll take your knees off. Like,
we're going to go for if I'd have scored, I was going to go for the Ronaldo, where he just used to like shake his finger running off. But I didn't come anywhere close to scoring yesterday. Like it would have been I'd have been there all day. I don't think I'd have scored a goal yesterday, to be honest.
I don't think you got far enough up the pitch. I
don't think I went beyond the halfway line. Actually,
Brownie, is it?
Not marauding like a modern fullback.
No overlapping. Definitely.
Me and Brownie were definitely not Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold yesterday. Is the full game somewhere, Brownie, where people can go watch?
I think it's going to be because Jason, you were mic'd up, weren't you, for the footage? So I think that's going to be out there. So keep an eye on Bradford Park Avenue's social media. YouTube, their X account, because I think that's going to be out there. That is going to be interesting, Jason.
I was mic'd up for the first 30, and then I got passed it over for the second 30. And I've got to say, I very quickly forgot I had it on. So that should be interesting because I am a bit of a talker. Let's put it that way.
A leader on the pitch, mate. A leader on the pitch.
Yeah, that's how I'd put it. I mean, I always saw myself as a bit of a captain, but I do like an F and a Jeff when I'm playing. So.
You tell us to calm down, won't we? Because we were a bit panicky, weren't we, at times?
Yeah, a bit hot potato at ball. I like keeping on to the ball a little bit, and it was very much hot potato, like just get rid of it kind of thing. So, yeah, I might have got caught in possession one or two times, but I certainly will try and take responsibility for the ball, So, yeah.
I mean, bless your lad. I've never seen a goalkeeper want to get rid of a ball as quick as what he does. Like, bless him. He was good, but get this ball away from me quick.
I know.
Exactly. Good stuff. So after the game, our very own Lewis Saley caught up with Danny Whittaker to have a little chat about the day and what's ahead for Avenue in general.
either being Avenue fans or just come down for the day. It must be nice to see.
Oh, unbelievable, yeah. Yeah, we were a bit sceptical before. We didn't know what to expect with the build-up. We spoke about the weather being a massive importance because that brings people in, doesn't it? So absolutely delighted with that. And yeah, it's just been buzzing all day since I come in about 10 o'clock. You know, steady growth, and the 2 games on before it helped. The crowd in there was very lively, and it was good to see all the stalls set up as well.
Must be as well quite satisfying from your perspective. Some of the hard work that you've done pays off like this. Yeah,
no, it's just making the football club a football club and making sure everyone's connected and the community feel involved, and the fans are a big part of that. And it's important that we make them all feel valued, because we want to take this football club to where it once was, and to do that we need everyone.
So going back a little bit, obviously you've been here probably about 6 months now. How are you finding your time at Avenue? It's probably been a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, just a little bit, to say the least. Obviously the football side of it's been tricky, but I knew I was coming into a situation that wasn't going to be easy, and you know we got so close. It was just, you know, I don't think it was meant to be. Unfortunately, we're a few players short to get us where we needed to get us and get those extra points. But you know, that's in the past now. We can't do anything about it. We've just got to rebuild and make sure we're gunning for the league next season.
For the next season, as all fans will probably be wanting to know, how's that going on so far?
Yeah, it's well underway. You know, we've had the clarification of what the budget will be for next season. You know, that's taken a few days to get settled and get to a final point. So that's good. We know where we're at with that, so we can start reaching out to players and trying to get them on board as quickly as possible, really.
First one you got over the line, James Anson, that must be a nice one to get over the line, and obviously locally in Bradford people know him, but also the reputation he's able to possibly have his contacts as well to help the club.
Well, that's it, yeah. No, he ticks a lot of boxes, and we knew bringing him in, you know, for the brief period we did, it was going to be tough for him to start games, just because he hadn't played for so long, and with his work commitments as well. So, but we knew what he was going to bring, you know, off the pitch as well, in the dressing room with the younger players, and those small appearances that he did coming on as a substitute. You know, he helped valuably, and he's going to help going forward.
Pre-season in, what's that looking like for you and the rest of the club?
Yeah, it's good. It's all mapped out. You know, we planned it a good few months ago, really. It's just a case of getting the pre-season friendlies, you know, boxed off. We've reached out to a good number of clubs. We're just waiting to hear back to get confirmation on that. But it'll be important that we hit the ground running for the first game of the season. That's for sure. We want to have a good first month, and then that'll just kick-start the season. That will, it really will. So we need to be fit first and foremost.
And how important is it, like you say, mentioned today at the festival day, it's important that everybody's kind of pulling that same direction for your sake, for the club's sake, and you've got to attack it, aren't you, next season?
Yeah, definitely, and it's making sure everyone's on board and everyone's got the belief as well, because you know the club's been in a bad situation for a couple of seasons now, and it's time we change that. So I'm firmly confident we can do that, but it's making sure everyone's on board and pulling in the right direction, because in 12 months' time this place will be a completely different, you know, different entity, that's for sure. But everyone's got to buy into it. You know, I can sit here and say this, say that, I could say anything really, and you know, people aren't going to believe a word I say. But you know, I'm very, very confident of what we can achieve, because we've got some really good people, you know, in the club, and really good volunteers as well that want to help.
Finally, then, I can't let it go after watching you try and chip the keeper from about 40-45 yards. Is that something you're going to put in a contract to people to replicate Danny Whittaker?
Could do. I was trying to make up because I missed the sitter from 6 yards. So the ball came, bounced, and I thought, you know, I'll just have a go, and it hit the bar. But that's how it goes, doesn't it? But no, it's good to see. I enjoyed it, loved it, the 2 games, and I hope everyone else did that joined in as well, and everyone else who came to the festival today, because that's what it's all about.
Help if I wasn't muted, wasn't it? Yeah, there we go. That was our very own. It was an absolutely seamless link as well, was that? One of my best, and nobody heard it. Lovely. Yeah, that was Lewis Sale with Danny Whittaker after Avivest yesterday. So thank you very much for giving us your time there, Danny. We'll be backing you next season, see how the boys get on. Just staying with non-league though, and I know, Chris, you were over watching Garforth versus Albion Sports. It was the playoffs for the North Counties East Football League. I mean, obviously we've had Riz on a couple of times on the show already, and you know, our heart goes out to Albion Sports, because they put up a great fight, but it was the spoils for Garforth Town.
Yeah, it wasn't what you class as a classic final, to say the least. It was very edgy. It was not the best of spectacles. There was a good crowd there, just under 1,400 that were down at Garforth for the Northern Counties East League Premier Division playoff final, which is a bit of a tongue twister in itself just to get out. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, it came down to penalties, and I mean, all of Garforth's 5 which they scored were absolute belters. The goalkeeper, Harry Flatt, made a cracking save to deny one of Albion's spots, and it was Garforth that kind of got themselves over the line. I think Albion, on the balance of the 90 minutes, probably shaded the match, but it was, minimal, so we say. There was very little in it. And out of the two, I think Garforth are probably the more ready for that step up. I think both clubs certainly would have had to invest, and Garforth are going to have to invest significantly to compete in the Northern Premier League East. But it certainly sets up for a really interesting season, because we're going to have 7 clubs in our region in that one division. A quarter of the league are going to be from West Yorkshire. So you're going to have Garforth, you're going to have Emley, who won the league. You've got Bradford Park Avenue coming down into it. You've then got Liversedge, Ossett, and Brighouse that got reprieve, and Pontefract Collieries as well. So, yeah, that Northern Premier League East next season is going to be very, very tasty, because it's, as I say, a third of the league is from West Yorkshire. I think about another third of it is from the North East, and then it's made up with other clubs dotted around from all over the place. So, yeah, it's going to be a really interesting season. I know Paul Marshall, who we're going to hear from, he was delighted to finally get over the line and looking to kind of build for next season. But it's going to take some backing, I think, from the ownership there.
Yeah, indeed. As you mentioned, they caught up with the managers for Garforth and Albion Sports. So let's have a look at this now. Again, Lewis Sale is like our roving reporter, isn't it, on this show tonight? Here we go.
Playoff final against Albion Sports. First of all, how does that feel?
It's amazing. It's like 5 years of hard work since I took over. It was tough the first 2 years with COVID stopping it, but then the next 3 seasons we've obviously finished 3rd, 4th, 2nd this season. I was dreading this season because I thought we'd finish 6th and miss out on playoffs, but fortunately we got the home tie in the playoff against a good Rossington team and managed to win on penalties. And today we've not been at our best. It's been a scrappy game. Defence is on top, and Harry Flatt has what a save. To be fair, all good penalties apparently. I don't watch my own, but I watched his save, which was amazing, like it was last week against Rossington. So very tough for Albion Sports. They've done remarkably well this season. Riz has put together a good, strong outfit there. But I think overall, the season, we probably were the 2nd best team in the league to Emley, and I think we deserve to go up. We've worked hard after losing 5 out of our first 9 games to turn it round and get to the playoff final. It's fair credit to the players and the owners, Craig and Carol and Andy Hayes come in this season and put some impetus into the drive towards promotion. So I think he's crying his eyes out in there. So he's got to get his hand in his pocket now and get some money ready for next season. We'll have to match the league above. We can't match this league, never mind the league above. But I've got a good group of lads and they'll all work hard for limited. Yeah, definitely staying. So that's going to be another season. I'll be into me probably about 28th, 29th season as a manager. So I must be getting to near the longest manager in non-league football, I would have thought, but who knows.
Don't matter, does it now, after that win?
No, it's another promotion on the CV. So.
Well, and then finally, next season, obviously, let you enjoy tonight. It's going to be one to probably think about in a few days' time after celebrations. But that's a team full of a lot of West Yorkshire teams, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of West Yorkshire teams, and a lot of them with big budgets, and who've been in it for a few seasons now. But in the past years and, well, probably decade, the lads who have gone up, your Pontefracts, your Ferrabys who've gone up, I know Brighouse have just come down, but a lot of them have managed to consolidate and stay in the league above. And that's what we'll be trying to do, consolidate and stay in the league next season. So.
I want to enjoy it, Paul.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
Congratulations. Play a final defeat against Garforth, but you gave them one heck of a run for the money, didn't you?
Yeah, I think probably by a lot of the fans and everybody here today will probably tell you, I think definitely in the first half we were the better team. Probably a couple of early half chances. We just needed something, get the rub of the green somewhere in the first half, and it would have probably we needed that goal really, particularly in the first half, and then obviously some big penalty claims. It's too far for me to decide, but I've had a lot of people come up to you and tell me it was absolutely a blatant penalty. Well, if it's not the handball, it's pulled him down. But it is one of those. It's sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't. With the home advantage, it's probably worked out in their favour.
But that first half and even elements of that second half, you were pushing one, even though probably either team didn't have a clear-cut chance. You were always in that game and always having a chance of getting something.
Yeah, I think you can't actually knock the effort. You can't actually knock like what the overall just the want to win on the pitch today. You can see that throughout the team. It was there. We picked up the first balls, the second balls, and probably dominated most parts of that game. Unfortunately, you just need that little bit of luck in these type of games, and knowing our luck, Fernando Mort came on. First tackle he took, first challenge he took, he popped his shoulder out. Tried to give him 5-10 minutes for him to kind of get into the game, and you could see he was struggling and he was in pain, so we had to sub someone who was potentially a penalty taker as well. So that's the kind of luck we've had all season, and it's carried over into playoffs, but I guess it's just one of those things, unfortunately.
So obviously, start of the season, close, but not close enough, but must be one you must be really proud of as a group.
Listen, absolutely. I've told them there, in there, if I could change them for any of the players in the league, I wouldn't do it, honestly. The biggest thing for me was just actually enjoying this journey with them. Not only did they give me an opportunity, but they gave the club an opportunity. It's always very difficult, and like I've discussed with you before, it's always very difficult to bring players to Albion Sports and try to sell them what the club are about, what we want to achieve, and sometimes it goes deaf on the ears, and a lot of people don't believe in it. But hopefully we've shown a lot of people today we're not just here as a number to take part. We're actually here to actually compete and trying to progress and move on, and hopefully we'll be doing that in coming future, hopefully.
Next season, this obviously feels really raw, but I'm guessing you're going to use that as a bit of fuel to reignite you for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said to him, people took it's been in the other non-leagues, and the Northern Premier League, you don't really see it, but it's been almost 10 and a half, maybe 11 months nearly since we've had them in pre-season. We started in mid-June last year. What are we now? It's just the start of May. I feel like just need to have a rest, just need to have a breather, just need to
get your holiday booked in.
That's it. Well, yeah. we're going next week to Albufeira with all the lads. We're all going, and they thoroughly deserve it. And that's just there for an achievement to be in the playoffs, but to get to the playoff final, like I said, we had a big crowd here as well today, and we had some good numbers here today. I think it was what was the overall attendance? 13,
nearly 15.
Nearly 1,500. So there was a lot of people travelling over from Bradford, and I appreciate all the support. Hopefully they can continue that till next season, and the stigma of Albion Sports only have 4 fans can deteriorate, and we can brush that aside now.
Go on and enjoy your holiday. Congratulations. All the best.
There we go. That was Lewis Sale. I've managed to actually unmute myself this time, which is always progress. We should mention there's another big game coming up tomorrow. It's Emley versus Parkgate, so I think a few of us are going to try and get down for that one as well. Steve, obviously Emley close to your heart as a club. Are you excited for that one?
Yeah, it should be a good game. Obviously, they've won the league. They've been promoted, and all eyes turn to what they might do next year in the division above. But this is a good chance to make it a double. I know that the club are, really wanting that success. They're hungry for it. It'll be the first time ever in Emley's history where they can do a double. And it's a league cup. I mean, at that level of football, it's a really good trophy to win, and a proud trophy for the players to win. And hopefully, it goes well. I suppose the only, downside of it is a couple of weeks since the season ended, really, for them. So, there's a bit of time in between. I'm sure the players will have had been training hard and everything, but I think these fixtures do need to be looked slightly at in future. How sort of far away they are to the end of the season, but yeah, it should be a good game. Obviously, it's at Scunthorpe. Playing at a professional or a former EFL professional ground. So that's, really exciting for the players too. And yeah, it should be a really good game. Parkgate are a good side, obviously, as well. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be really quite interesting because you've got the winners in Emley of the Northern Counties East League Premier Division against the winners of the Northern Counties East League Division 1 Parkgate, who, as to be fair, Steve rightly mentions, they've played more recently because the season was effectively pushed back. The playoffs for both leagues were pushed back because of all the fixture issues and congestion that they had. So, and the same applied to the League Cup. So I think the reason it's ended up being this much after Emily finished the season is because I think it was Silsden that had to play a quarter-final. That was postponed. And then the semi-final, therefore, was knocked on as well. It was only last week when Parkgate beat Campion to reach the final. So it could have been a North-West Yorkshire affair, actually, in Scunthorpe on Wednesday night. But as it is, it's going to be the two league champions against each other, as you say, at Scunthorpe United's ground on Wednesday night. And, yeah, it should be a really good game. The fact that it's the top two sides from the respective divisions should mean it's a really good contest.
I mean, Parkgate will be looking for a bit of a scout, won't they, Chris? Because, they're going up into the league that Emily's just come out of, sorry. So, for them, it'll be a good test of what's the level that you need to play at in that league, And for Emily, it's just a case of, like I said, the more historical context of, finishing the season off with a bit of cherry on top of the cake.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on now to the EFL.
They won there.
I was breaking up there. Is that me or is that Chris breaking?
No, it's Chris. It's Chris.
It's Chris.
Are you back, frozen? It's fully frozen.
He's missed his chance.
That's how cold it is over where Chris is right now. It's frozen.
Exactly. Well, like we say, get yourselves down to that game tomorrow night at 7:30. But we're going to move on to the EFL now. We're going to start off in the Championship. Leeds United season finished. Well, season up until the playoffs, obviously. It was a 2-1 loss against Southampton. A bit of a demoralising day, I think, for Leeds United fans. I was a little bit fortunate. I didn't really get to catch the game, so I don't think I felt the full throttle of it. But a bit of a damp squib. Not on the best form going into the playoffs. It's Norwich away at Carrow Road, 12:30 kickoff on Sunday. How are you feeling about things now? A couple of days since the Saints game.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody that wants a more in-depth kind of feel to how I came out of Saturday, go back and watch the review. It was a good one. And we had some great numbers, and I think fans on the whole feeling very much, similar kind of feel to the way that I was feeling about it. And I can't help but feel a little bit demoralised by it. I'm still feeling a little bit demoralised about it. And I would imagine that most of the fan base are still feeling pretty demoralised about it. And I can't believe that many will be going into Sunday with much confidence, because at the end of the day, you can only take the form based on what we've seen over the last few weeks. And since the international break, which were now 6 weeks ago, we've not played well in either winning, losing or drawing games. We've not played well. We've had moments, but things just don't feel to be clicking in the same way. We're very open and very porous to goals, which we just weren't before the international break. The chances that we're conceding. I mean, the first goal, I keep on watching it back and I just think, this is like watching us defend under Jesse Marsh. If you go back and watch the goal, it's very reminiscent of goals that we conceded under Jesse Marsh. Is that first one, and some of Daniel Farke's comments and suggestions towards the reasons are worrying me a little bit. If I'm honest, they don't make sense. Some of the things that he's saying. All that said,
what's he said?
Well, he came out and said that we were open in the first half because we were gung-ho towards needing to win the game and score goals on Saturday, and that just weren't the case, especially second half. Second half, we were exactly the same as we've seen us play when we play slow, patient football. Usually when we were behind in games, it looked exactly the same as everything that we've seen. And going forward in the first half, we've played like that in a lot of home games this season, but we've defended properly, whereas on Saturday we just didn't. I'd be interested to know whether other fans felt the same. I know that other content creators have kind of mirrored very similar. I don't think we need to just set it all on fire just yet. Like, at the end of the day, Daniel Farke still produced a season in which we finished on 90 points. That's no mean feat based on some of the issues that he had in the summer. some of the issues that we had during the season. You know, we can't forget the 16 games unbeaten in 2024, where we won 9 on the bounce. You know, we equaled a club record in doing that. So there's still a lot to like, but I would be struggling to say that I have much confidence going into Sunday. We're capable of winning the playoffs. You know, I think we're the best team out of the 4. I think Southampton would be a tricky day at Wembley should we get there, but I think Norwich over 2 games we've proven we've beaten them home and away this season anyway, so we know we can go there and get the job done. I just feel like it's the worst time of the season for everything to just go a little bit flat, Brownie. But all that said, I have made my peace with what will or will not be. Yeah. I'll ultimately be disappointed in reviewing it should we then not come out with either the semi-finals or the final. With wins, of course. Like I wanna see us back in the Premier League, but the Championship or another season in the Championship next season isn't the end of the world for me personally. It's not. I just hope that the fans get right behind the players next Thursday at Ellen Road. Well, it just feels fragmented at the moment, and it's just it's unnecessary. It's really, really unnecessary. We're a club notoriously over the last 15 years that have struggled to even achieve playoff positions in the Championship. Before Bielsa came along, that's not where we were. We were miles off that. So to be disappointed finishing on 90 points and finishing 3rd, I just think it's unfair. I think it's really, really unfair.
I think what is going to be critical is how we approach these games in terms of, I mean, let's be honest, these performances lately have been a bit of a damp squib. We've not performed well. We've not gone gung-ho, despite what Farker said at the weekend. I think if it just fizzles out, I think if it's 2 poor performances and, you know, if, I know he scored at the weekend, but if Pirro's playing the same way and it's the same players and it's the same, you know, that to me is just not good enough. I want, you know, I can accept losing a football game. I can accept, you know, another year in the Championship, whatever. But, you know, if we just go out meekly, you know, I text you that after the game. I was like, I just don't want to see us go out meekly and just, you know, we're on a horrible run of form. And I know you can't just turn it back on, but, you know, at least give it a go. You know, at least, you know, how many shots on target did we have at the weekend? You know, how much did we really create? You know, let's give it a go at least. You know, I want to at least see that.
It's 50-50 at the moment. I think he should be back for Sunday. And he would be key. He will be key, Will Bamford. But I think this form that we're talking about, because 2024 has been a bit of a funny one because we've obviously won so many games and had such great consistency. But most weeks, the games were just controlled. We weren't blowing teams away. I think a Swansea away, we blew them away that day. Had a couple of performances here and there where we were like, yeah, we were good today. But I remember us having several reviews this season, Brownie, where we were like, we were good for 30 minutes. We were good for 40 minutes. We had 20-minute spell there where we were good. But the overall 90 minutes, there's not been that many which have been like real standout blow away your opposition. We were just so good at controlling games in 2024 before the international break, where it just felt like we were always in charge. We were always just going to go through the motions, win the game with a 6 or a 7 out of 10 performance. And I don't know. Like, I think ultimately we need to either see the control or we need to see a 90-minute performance on Sunday. You know, we can't be, because in my head, what I'm expecting to see on Sunday is we'll come out, we'll play well for 20 minutes. We won't score. Norwich will get on top. They'll score with the first shot on goal that they have because Meslier is a hologram, and then we'll lose 2-0. That's how I see Sunday going. I know that's what it feels like, though, doesn't it? With the current form, and we've seen the script before. It literally feels like I'm pulling the script out of the drawer. All right, yeah, seen this before. Okay, right, that's the way it's going to go. And I mean, there's been games this season where it's been like that because we've come out and usually scored early. We've been allowed to then control the game in the way that we want to play it. But when that doesn't happen, the game feels like it's always running away from us. So, yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I was going to say as well, I mean, because we've talked about the lack of experience in this Leeds team, lack of Championship experience. And you've got You know, Luke Ayling over at Middlesbrough has registered, I think, the most assists in the Championship since January or
9
something
assists.
like that.
Nine assists.
Yeah, crazy. Are you looking at someone like that and going, were we a bit short-sighted? Should we have kept someone like Luke for this kind of stage of the season? How invaluable would he have been? But obviously his performances weren't good at the start of the season, and ultimately we've let him go. But you're looking at it going, was that actually a bit of a mistake? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't have, on the one hand, it's a fantastic team, it's a fantastic squad, but we don't have the experience as well when we've let someone like that go. And the fact that, I mean, other players in the squad, I mean, for me, Gellhart should have seen more minutes. Joseph should see more minutes. Anthony should have seen more minutes. Even Creswell should have had more game time. I mean, it feels like there's no options because he's not tried any other options.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to caveat the conversation with Luke Ayling with saying he did get chances and he was poor on the pitch. That goes without saying. We all agreed, even the most fanatical kind of old guard, as we get called, kind of fanboys. We all said that Luke Ayling needed to go. Liam Cooper, his time is up. We've all said this now, I think. You know, so I don't want to be too revisionist on it because I don't think that that's right. But we did need more experience in this team. Daniel Farker highlighted it in going for Kenny McLean in the summer. You know, we had a £2.5 million bid rejected from Norwich on deadline day way back. So it was clear that this were always a problem. My question to that is why didn't we then sort it in January? Especially when he's come out this week and said he wishes he had a Sam Morsey and a Luongo. Like, I really don't like that comment because it's like, well, if I were Glenn Kamara, I'd be looking at him and be like, well, hold on a minute. He's saying I'm not good enough. I'm a European finalist. Yeah. I just think it were a weird comment. And I think again, I'm not bashing Farker. I'm still a Farker in. I think he's the right guy for next season, regardless of what happens over this next 2 weeks. But I think some of the pressure is maybe getting to him a little bit. Yeah. But it's definitely an issue to come to the point of what you're saying. For me, and a lot of people won't agree with this. I know they won't, but I would be starting Cooper on Sunday. I would. I think we need his leadership. It'd allow us to bring Ampadu back into the midfield. It'd give us some progression in the middle. Rather than us wheeling out the same thing that we've seen over this period of form, which isn't been working in Gruev and Kamara, get Ampadu back in that midfield.
Yeah, I think he's dug a hole, though. I don't think he'll do it because
I don't think he'll do it either.
With this team selection now, where it's the same every game.
But again, I mean, if you can't trust Liam Cooper against Barnes and Josh Sargent, who can you trust him against? Because they're the perfect strikers to play him against. He ain't going to start Cresswell. Let's not even have the discussion. It's pointless. He's not played all season. They ain't going to trust him. But you have to be able to trust Liam Cooper with it. You know, we're having this conversation about Luke Ayling and what he can and can't do. Well, he's shown that he still had something left. We decided to keep Cooper in January and not replace him with anybody as a third-choice centre-back. He's our third-choice centre-back because Stroike's out. You play your best centre midfielder back in centre midfield when this form isn't working. It isn't working now. Ampadu and Rodon were so good during that period of form. But the fact is it's a partnership. They're now out of form. So you might as well break it up anyway. So
do you think...
Sorry, go on, Steve.
I was just going to say, do you think that playing away in the first leg is actually a negative? Because obviously that heaps over pressure then onto the home leg second. I always preferred to play away at home in the first leg.
Depends on the result. It depends on the result. Yeah, I said this in the review the other day. Sunday is absolutely massive. We cannot come out of Carrow Road behind. If we do, I think it's over. I think it's absolutely over. If we come away from there with it level or in front, I think the fans and the crowd will probably be good come Thursday. But if we're behind, I think you'll just see. I think you'll see an absolute a dumpster. I want to say the F word, but that's what you'll see.
Why though? Because surely, even if you are behind, the crowd should be there to back. You know, to get behind the lads.
We just don't tactically. We just don't look tactically like we can force things at the minute.
There's a couple of things with it. Brownie, I still think there's a hangover from the last 2 seasons. I still think the fan base is very almost tired of what they've kind of had to go through. I think
even though this is a really good season,
yeah, even
could have re-energized and rejuvenated that fan base.
This is what I keep on campaigning for. Sorry to just cut you in, guys, and I'll let you say what you got to say in a sec. I still think that the fan base as a whole is hung up on Bielsa, and I love Bielsa. Not just Bielsa, but the style of play. I see it all the time. It's we should be pressing, we should be attacking, it should be going, this is boring. Like, and if we just had Daniel Farke turn up now when we were playing like this and had achieved 90 points, I think the fan base would be in a completely different mindset. But they are so hung up on what we had. It's gone, guys. I'm going to keep saying it is gone. I wish it were here too. If you told me that Bielsa were going to come in tomorrow over Daniel Farke, I'd snap it up like that, but it's not going to happen. It's gone. So, like, you have to leave it where it is, and that's in the past. I mean, I know it's a lot has gone on since then, Brownie, but we were there at that cup game two weeks into the season, and the fan base, you could feel it then. It's almost like they were wanting it to fail. That's how it felt. And I understand that the style of play is a little bit pedestrian at times, but it's got us 26 wins this season. It's got us 90 points. It can't be that bad.
But at this point now, where it's not working, he just doesn't seem capable of mixing it up or changing it enough. And I think, for me, what will annoy me is if it's another placid, crap performance where we don't really make anything happen. And like you say, I can fully... If we lose 2-0 to Norwich at the weekend, I'm almost expecting that result. I can just picture it. I really can.
The problem is, though, Brownie, we had these conversations when Bielsa were here. Be more pragmatic. Do this. We should keep hold of the ball more. We had the same conversations, just the other way around. The difference it was on the back of an absolute pile of dross for 10 years. You know, like Bielsa couldn't lose, could he really? As long as it was entertaining and we were progressing, we were all happy. But we had the same conversations about, not being as kamikaze. I mean, the Sky Sports, social media, everything, were saying how balmy Bielsa's football was and how crazy it was, and you can't just attack all the time and all this. So it's just revisionist, I think, to look back at it. I just think that the feeling around it, we're so quick to jump all over it now. We're so quick to jump all over it because it isn't as exciting.
Yeah. That tiredness that you talked about in the fan base, and obviously it's in the team as well, probably. Part of that is fueled, to me, as an outside looking in, by getting 90 points and thinking we've not gone up automatically. That is like, do you know what I mean? I think that happens. Teams that often finish third, there's that air of resignation. Like, it's just not fair. How have we got 90 points? We've not gone up. It just fuels into that tiredness and that, the resignation that fans and sort of, the desperation that you have to get out of the division and getting 90 points and not going up. It just fuels all that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, statistically, the team that finishes third goes up more often than the other positions. So actually, factually, you want to be the team that finishes third because it usually probably means that you're the best team. However, there probably is another caveat to that in that whereas the team that finishes third finish in terms of a points total, because I think you're absolutely right. I think when you've been in a three-way battle for the automatic promotion and then you're the one that's missed out on the final day of the season, that's very different to the team that's potentially finished third, but it was sorted out 2-3 weeks ago and you've had two runaway leaders. Like last season, as an example, Sheffield United and Burnley, it was sewn up. So I can't remember who finished third last season. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you completely. I mean, I'm seeing some of the comments, and I know people are agreeing and not agreeing. Like, I just think at this stage of the season, guys, like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to go up or not? And the fact is that the style of play is not going to change, nor should we want it to change with 2 weeks to go. Because what do you want them to do? Rewrite what we've done all season? That don't make any sense. This ain't Football Manager. We're not just switching tactics up. It doesn't even work in Football Manager when you do it. So, like, look,
Gaz wants us to play 3-5-2. That's what it is.
The answer.
I saw Stevie's comment further up about no Coops is the pass argue for Cresswell. What, you want Charlie Cresswell to come in for his first start since September? Like, no, it's not. That's not going to happen.
I just think.
Sorry, go on.
I just think there's a lot of pressure with you on the set. I just think there's a lot of pressure on you with the second leg. Unfortunately, I think if I were in your position, I would have preferred to go to Norwich in the second leg because I think you've got more freedom to play away from home without the crowd is.
The problem is that the style of play creates tension, and Leeds fans are quite tense and wired anyway when it comes to these kind of circumstances. I mean, I'm exactly the same. So it kind of, it's a double-edged sword. It kind of does itself in, if that makes any sense.
There's no way to win this, is there?
No. So we need an early goal. We come out and we need to score an early goal. If we score an early goal, like let's say we get through Sunday and it's 1-1, right? If we come to Welland Road and score in the first 10 minutes, I think we could probably blow them away. But after 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes goes,
the longer
they start getting a couple of counters. I can already feel it. It's almost like I'm there now. I can feel it. So
that falls in with what you were saying earlier. That falls in with what you were saying earlier about your style of play throughout the season. When you've got an early goal and you've gone on and dominated games, when you've not got an early goal, as what's been happening recently, then you've not dominated. You've hit a bit of a sticky patch. An early goal, whatever style of play, it helps whatever style of play you play. But obviously, it's been a big thing for you this season. It'll be a big thing for you this weekend.
The Blackburn game comes to mind as one of those where you were on top, didn't see chances, bugger, you stuff.
We score in the first 15 minutes of that game. I think we blow Blackburn away 3 or 4-0. I genuinely do, because we absolutely dominated that game. I mean, go back and watch it. They had 3 shots on goal. We had 19. I mean, the statistics tell you everything that you need to know. But you're right. The desperation setting in the second half. You could feel that the goal weren't coming. And then they got one breakaway. It were a goal kick. They touched the ball 3 times before the ball was in the back of the net. So it's one of them. Like it's tough. It's real tough. But the biggest problem is that the performances since the Blackburn game, Middlesbrough were crazy. The QPR game and then Saturday have been really poor. I mean, QPR was so poor. So I understand the worry for fans. I just think it's unfair to jump all over what has been a good season.
Still, could be worse.
I do think that you are.
Go on, Downsy.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I do think you are playing the best side, but at the same time, you're definitely not playing the best side if Norwich get an early lead. Because one of the things that Wagner's so good at doing is making games tight, frustrating, and just sucking all the air out of it. I watched it nearly every game when we got promoted, and he's so good at doing it. He just sucks all the energy out of it for the opposition, not for his own team.
I mean,
that's a massive problem.
I hear you. However, we went to Carrow Road and were 2-0 down, and then ended up beating them 3-2. So I based on what
it can happen.
Based on what we've been able to do about it, I think. I mean, so much has changed since then. It's a tricky one, mate. It's gonna be a tight game. I hope we go there. We've kind of, the season's gone. What has or hasn't happened has gone, and now we've got an opportunity to put it right. That's Daniel Farke's job. That's his man management, being able to either do this or not. Steve, Jason, what have you seen to give confidence to beat Norwich? When did I say that I think we'd beat Norwich? I didn't say that. Go back and listen to what I've just said. I think it's going to be tough. I have no confidence. I have no confidence based on what we've seen. If you're asking me to sell the other side of the argument, then we've beaten them twice. We're still the team that finished on 90 points. We still finished third. We still finished 20-something points in front of this Norwich side. And over 2 legs, we should be able to get it done with the talent that we've got. The problem that we've got is the form that we're in, the lack of confidence, a bit of self-doubt's creeped in, and sticking to some of these silly principles that Daniel Farke is sticking to, i.e. Pirro, is a problem. But if Bamford's fit and he makes some brave decisions, then we can win the games. So yeah, that's I can sell the other side to it too.
Indeed. Moving over to our now ex-championship counterparts, Huddersfield Town.
Oh, cheers,
Steve. I mean, after the game, obviously myself and Jason, obviously our season's still going, so we're fired up and we're still in that kind of mode. But you and Callum seem pretty kind of chill about it, if I'm honest. The fact that you've been relegated, just kind of resigned and.
compared to you two, they were very chill. I've never seen two people as happy on a stream to be
The
honest.
team just got relegated.
You two losing your blinking minds.
Yeah, but that all comes down to the fact that I think it didn't go down to the last day. Like,
Yeah.
I know mathematically it did, but it didn't, did it? You know, as soon as we lost 4-0 to Swansea, 15, 16,000 came out the ground and they were like, well, that's it, it's finished. It didn't even really matter what we did against Birmingham, to be honest. So, I've been not chill about it. I think you can't, I'm not lackadaisical about us going down. I'm pretty devastated and gutted and cross about it. But what can we do? Us as fans have, tried to support this crap team all through the season, and I think the apathy, which we talked about on the stream the other night, the way that that we've just now all the other stuff that's come out from Andre Breinreiter, that we don't know if he's going to be here. It's the 6th of May today, right? They're going to announce season tickets on sale on Wednesday, and we've heard nothing. We've not heard anything from anybody.
The club haven't even announced that they've been relegated yet, have they?
No. There's been no. Well, not necessarily they don't need to, Chris, but because it's an obvious fact.
Yeah.
But like Birmingham, they've had statements from the chairman, the captain. Rotherham put out a statement. Evans has gone on publicly and spoken about next season, and we've had nothing. And I think the reason that is because they don't know if Andre's staying or going. I think he's going. I think he's already gone. I think he's back in Germany right now, tucking into a schnitzel or whatever. I just think all the German foods are available. Yeah. But yeah, I just think that's the reason why we've not. I can't believe we've just not heard anything. I mean, like I say, season tickets are supposed to go on sale on the 8th of May. I mean, we don't know what price they're going to be. We don't know.
Thinking, Steve, after Saturday, I think was it Kev put something out basically saying that, look, Andre's going to take a little bit of time to go to weigh up his options, to weigh up what he wants to do, and then there'll be something. So there will be something in the pipeline. And at the moment, it's understandably giving Andre a couple of days or so to consider what he wants to do. It's interesting that being caught. Now, I mean, what would you do? If I was kind of a Town fan, in light of the last week or so and all the comments recently, I bloody love, frankly, what he's come out with and the attitude and the bullishness of it. But I would, off the back of that, want him to be the man. I think Cal used the word on Saturday. Disciplinarian is what this squad needs to, frankly, rip it apart and start again. So if I was a Town fan personally, I'd be looking at this thinking, you know what? I would actually back him to put his squad together because, I appreciate work permits are more difficult now than they were previously, but it is still possible for him to bring in, a League One equivalent of Schindler and Heffeler, with that Wagner brought in, for example. It's still possible for him to bring a couple of players from Germany and then build the rest of the squad around them. And I love the way he's been this last week in terms of the bullishness. I think it's got to a point where he's at that stage where, you know what? It doesn't matter what he says about the players because they ain't going to be here next season, and he's in that position where he could be.
So there's a couple of strands to this, right? I think he's gone into the last few weeks and thought, right, I'm just going to say what I want to say and get it all out there, and then people can deal with it how they want to deal with it, whether they think I'm right or whether I think I'm wrong. I agree. I love that attitude. I've said it for the last 3 podcasts now. Good on you, Andre. And it's about time somebody said something against these players that, haven't performed for the club over the last 12 months. And clearly don't care. You look at the goal that we conceded to Ipswich, the first goal. Jack Radoni, I mean, I've backed him all season. You can't do what he did. Not even try to get the ball back. I mean, it's disgusting. But now the strands are he's probably gone back to Germany. He's going to talk with his family because his family live over there. I don't think they've got any interest in coming over here. It's not like when Wagner came over, he moved all his family over, they went to school here, his wife got a job here, whatever. I don't think that's the same going to happen. So he needs to decide if he wants to live for a full year or a couple of years in England and live away from his family, which obviously is a big personal decision for him. I feel that, does he want to manage in League One? He's never managed in a third tier of a country, because he's had success elsewhere, so he's never needed to manage this low. Does he feel that he knows the division? Can he get us out of the division? Is Kevin going to give him the money and the backing that he needs, that he demands? Because I think this squad needs 8 million as a minimum spending on it, and that's before you get rid of players as well. You need to get rid of players out the door first. So there's a few things that need to be considered, and Kevin, you're right, Chris. Kevin put a tweet out the other day saying that Andre's going to take a bit of time, but we need an answer quickly, and that's the key word in all this: quickly. We got to get on with it because Rotherham already know what they're going to do. Birmingham are going to splash cash. Wrexham coming up, they're paying championship wages already to people. Stockport, there are lots of positivity with them. Barnsley will have a plan. Oxford, I know they're in the playoffs right now. They'll have a plan. Bolton will be the same if they don't go. Peterborough always know what they're going to do. McCartney's he manages seasons 5 years ahead at that club. That's I don't like the bloke, but he's a good chairman. So the problem is we're going into a division now where a lot of these clubs.
We'll carry on.
Sorry?
I said you've missed a club there in your list of clubs going for promotion next season, but we'll carry on.
Yeah, well, you've got Charlton with Jones, you've got Blackpool, and of course Lincoln with Skabula, who he knows what he's going to do. So you've got a lot of clubs there that have got a lot of plans and they know how to go forward. And at Town, at this moment in time, Saturday on the 6th of May, it's all a bit disjointed, shambolic, and there's no real identity of what's going to happen going forward. And by the end of this next week, we need to know what's happening with Andre. Season ticket prices need to be announced, and we need some sort of statement about what's going to happen and some proper answers. Firstly, to reflect on the absolute crapness of what happened this season, and then what is the plan going forward? Because if we don't have a plan, we'll end up in 12th place in League One. Definitely.
That's what I was going to say, Steve. Just what you hit on there about a plan. And I'm only guessing, but as an outsider looking in again, what's frustrating for Town fans, I'm guessing, is you guys have been resigned to relegation and for being in League One for a few weeks now. Yet you're looking at the club and you're saying they're not organised, they're not ready. And look at the other teams that are around and we're going to be up against next year, and they are all ready. Yet us as fans have known we're going to be there, but the club's not done anything to get ready for it. And teams are still in the mark on us.
Well, that's the mad fact, Gaz, that you obviously Birmingham only got relegated on the last day, but Rotherham have known that they're going down for weeks, months, ever since Evans walked in door. So it didn't really matter what Evans did in his last 5 games at Rotherham, because he were always going to plan for next season.
Exactly.
Who's he going to get rid of? I bet he's already got a list of who he's going to sign. Come the end of this month. So to me, we are the worst club at this moment in time. I would say in the top 12 of that division at this moment in time without a plan. I think if you look below 12th in that division, then you're looking at, with all due respect, dog crap teams that are going to get relegated. That are going to battle relegation. I don't see, it doesn't matter how shambolic Town are. I just can't see us getting relegated from League One. I'd be amazed. You can clip that up in a year's time when we do get relegated from League One, but
we will.
I can't see that happening. So it really worries me what's going on until we hear of a plan. But from what I hear behind the scenes, not everything's rosy. So take that information of what you will.
I think to be fair, stating the obvious, Steve. I mean, if things had have been rosy behind the scenes, you wouldn't be in the mess that you've been in for the last at least 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, but I think it's worse than obviously I can't, say whatever I've been told, but I think it's worse than what fans actually think about what's going on. So
again, isn't it? It's got to be rip it up, start again. It's got a job squad wise.
It has to be.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. It has
to be, Chris. I mean, but the problem that we've got, Chris, is that there's only 5 players out of contract at the end of this season. I mean, how are we going to get rid of them? That's the problem we've got. Yes, you're going to have people coming for probably Helic, Radoni. So you're probably going to get players in for Helic, Radoni, Nichols, and Thomas. They're probably your 4 that people are going to come in for. But then your other players that you don't want to keep, I don't really get how we're going to get rid of them, or because that's the one thing that I can't remember who said it. You chaps might. Well, there was a CEO once that came out and said that the hardest thing to do in a football club is not sign players, but get rid of them. It might have been somebody in the Prem. Can't remember.
But it's one of those. It's not impossible to shift players that you don't necessarily want out, but
it costs money.
Yeah, well, potentially, yeah. It depends. If you end up paying off, then yes, it's certainly going to cost them money.
I think you're underestimating League One next season, Steve. Like, I'm not saying that I'm hearing you say that you're going to get promoted, but I mean, look at. I mean, not to bring up the Charlton Huddersfield conversation again, right? But Charlton finished 16th in League One this season. Like, they're a prime example.
That's because they were. But they were run badly for the majority of that season, and now they've got a manager in that knows what he's doing. That
even on the pitch, they weren't that bad. The kind of the behind the scenes issues have been gone at Charlton for at least the last 2
while.
years.
Yeah,
I don't see his.
I'm not saying you will.
I don't see us finishing below 12th.
I'm not saying you will.
I could say
right now you've been ran poorly. Right, maybe not from a financial aspect, but the decisions that are getting made are bad ones. And if recruitment doesn't happen, if you're still stuck starting next season with some of these players that clearly don't want to be there, it's going to be a tall order.
We've talked about this in the group chat, haven't we? Quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
How the Championship and League Two were tough this year. I think League One's going to be it next year. I think it's going to be such a tough league next year, League One, for the reasons we've talked about here, because teams are getting their act together already and they know where they're going. And there's teams in that division with big ambitions. And I think, I put it in the group chat, I think that your new owners and Kevin, they've got a lot to prove. They need to really get the finger out and make a plan and decide what they're going to do and prove stuff to the fans about where they're going to take Huddersfield Town.
Gaz, I mean, you're having the likes of Port Vale and Carlisle replaced with Wrexham and Stockport.
Exactly.
Like, that's massive. I mean, straight away, you're looking at I'd put both of them in the top half.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with
that. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. And obviously, I know at times I've bantered and said, I do think that we are a decent sized club in League One, but by that sort of conversation at this moment in time, honestly, we are, if you put us in the top 12, 14 clubs in that league, we are probably in the worst position going into it, back behind the scenes and on the pitch. There's a lot of negativity around, and until that's sort of ripped out and the heart's ripped out of it and replaced and a massive operations done on that squad, and behind the scenes at the football club, then it's just going to go into it in a bad shape, and that's the thing that worries me, because
this week is absolutely huge, isn't it? Because ultimately, if it comes out and Andre's staying on, then they need to get that. I mean, to be fair, keeping Andre on actually might help the getting rid of the players part, because we know full well that there are going to be players in that dressing room that don't get on with Andre, that don't want to play for Andre. So actually, we'll be probably a lot more prepared to take contracts elsewhere that they may not necessarily consider if a new man comes in with a new mentality and actually kind of wants to give them a chance. So in terms of clearing the decks, actually keeping Andre on might be the best thing. But obviously that time will tell. the key thing is very simply, if Andre does decide to walk away and it's not for him, is that next manager is we said this after Warnock went, we said this after Darren Moore went, but the next manager is massive. Whether that's someone that you can pull for another club that's done a good job elsewhere, or somebody that is still waiting in the wings, currently out of work.
Do you know, in all seriousness, Chris, who I'd go for if Andre don't stay? And this might be a bit of a
what the other day.
And this is a wild suggestion, right? Not like, yeah. I mean, I'd go for Pete Wild at Barrow, but the other one, and I think he would drop to League One if we give him the money that he wants and we make promises to him. But I'd go get Nigel Pearson. I would, because he's a disciplinarian. He won't take crap, and he'll shove these young players where they don't want to be. And it might be a bit of a like, oh, you're way over your head there, Steve. But he's been out of it for a couple of years. Well, like last year he was at Bristol, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was early this season, wasn't he, that he left and was then replaced by Liam Manning.
I think he would drop.
I think that's a really good shout. I really do think that's a good shout.
So I don't think you're too far over your head there either, because I think but this is where you need to trust the people though that are feeding back to Kev. This is where, and the problem you've got is you don't trust the people that are feeding back to Kev, like Mark Carroll and remind me of the name of the other
Jake Edwards.
There we go. You don't trust those people to necessarily go back to Kev and produce the right name.
So the thing is, right, most fans...
Let's be honest, that was them feeding back to Kev about how good a job Darren Moore is going to do, how he's done well at Sheffield Wednesday, and look how that shit show turned out. So
exactly,
you trust the people feeding back to Kev, and frankly, you don't, and you can't, and quite rightly can't.
Yeah, exactly, Chris. I mean, 90%, I'd say 90% of Town fans trust Kevin as Kevin is a person. Do you know what I mean? Like they like what Kevin is. I mean, there's a lot to prove. Gaz is correct. Like, there's a lot of fans saying, right, Kev, we give you last summer off because you came in June and you only had a month to sort stuff out. You showed a little bit in January that you're going to put some money in, and you're prepared to open your wallet. But now we've gone down. This is where you need to take it by the horns now. And if you're not going to trust the people that's telling you what's happening, you need to get rid of them and get people in that are going to, like Mark Cartwright hasn't worked in, League One for forever. He doesn't know the level of player probably needed to be in League One. So to me, you've got a director of football there that's not a good fit for what we are. And I think that's the problem, that he's been a little bit too trusting as Kevin. Again, probably down to his naivety slightly. And this season he just needs to take it by the horns and make big decisions himself.
It's easy though to say so and so hasn't worked at a level, they're not going to know the level. I think football now is a very different game from 10, 15 years ago, with the invention of things like Y-Scout and all the other data-driven and analytical things that are out there. I think it is very far easier now for foreign managers coming to this country, for people that haven't worked at the lower levels, to actually do their research and quickly get to know the levels. I think it is easy to say somebody's not worked at this level, therefore it's going to fail. But equally, you've still got to get it right.
Yeah, he's actually just tweeted as Mr. Nagel. This is about a minute ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so working furiously behind the scenes on quite a few things. It's important to me that you have actions we can point to right out of the gate. That being said, I'm waiting on one more very important thing before we launch the end of season diary. Thank you for your patience.
So that's Andre staying. That's Andre staying. That's not staying. What I mean is that's Andre's decision being made, and I think that's coming tomorrow, because I don't think they can wait until Wednesday to have that decision, because season tickets go out Wednesday morning unless they're going to postpone it. But they've been ended all for like the last 3 weeks of the season. They were saying season tickets out on the 8th, season ticket outs on the 8th. So they've said that date now. I'd be amazed if they push that back now.
I think it's amazing that Kev's clearly watching and has seen what you've said, Stephen, has put an instant response out.
Come on, Kev, I'll send you the StreamYard link, mate. Just click on the join, type your name in, and you're good to go.
To be fair, it's been great with us in the past. The fact that we've been able to have interviewed him a couple of times, and I know we're hopeful of being able to get something as well over the course of the summer as well. But look, we said we wanted action, and there we go, Steve. You've literally got a tweet a couple of minutes ago from the head honcho, the man at the top, that hopefully is suggesting an action in the next few days.
Yeah, he's working. He's trying to sort stuff out, and that's positive. That's the positives I can take. Whether they're going to be the right things being sorted out, who knows? But at least he's not the chairman that's decided to sit on his hands and just hide. He's not hiding, is he? Which is positive.
Let's get this right, and we said it in the group chat. Like Huddersfield Town, absolutely 100% can get promoted out of League One next year. There's no doubt about that. So they can. They have the potential to do it. But as I said to you the other day, it's like us in League Two and us in League One to an extent. It's getting that plan and that structure and everything right behind the scenes. And as Chris said, getting the right people advising Kevin. And if you don't do that, your potential means absolutely nothing. And that's why they've got to get things right and get this plan and structure right. Like I said, like we do, really, at City. Exactly the same. You've got to get that right. Otherwise, your potential means nothing. So the next few days, I think, like you said, they're going to be absolutely crucial.
What a segue into City chat, Steve. You couldn't have planned that better, mate.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Let's move on to Bradford City then before we wrap things up. Gaz, obviously not loads going on. Season's finished for a couple of weeks, but probably the main news was the retained and released list. A couple of big name departures, Chapman, Derbyshire, but Brad Halliday, Bobby Poynton both secured. What were your feelings on that list, mate?
Probably has to be expected, Brownie, really. I think there were probably a few fans who earlier in the season would have liked to have seen more players go than have gone. But the run that we went on at the end of the season, the sort of formation that Alexander got working, he got us a goal threat from midfield. Everything was looking reasonably rosy. I think it was always going to be a case that we were going to keep more or keep the names that have been kept, really. I didn't know that such as Stubbs and Smallwood had hit a target that automatically extended the deal. I didn't know that they had that in the contract, but obviously they've hit that number of games now, so they were always going to be here next year. But I think that Alexander would have kept them both anyway. You mentioned Brad Halliday and Bobby Poynton. We've taken the option on their contracts that we had to extend it by another year, but listening to Alexander on Radio Leeds the other day, he said that he'll also be aiming to give them better contracts. So, we've taken the option, so we've secured them for next year at the very least. Yeah. And then hopefully we can extend the deal even further and give them a wage rise that they clearly deserve because of the way they performed towards the end of the season. As Steve was saying regarding Huddersfield Town, I think, a big thing for us is going to be getting rid of players that are under contract because we were talking yesterday at Abbeyfest, like I said, like I've just said, the players that we've kept were always likely to be kept, and the players that we've released were always likely to be released. But we have players 4 or 5. I think that most fans would name the same 4 or 5 players that they don't think are in Graham Alexander's plans, and we've got them under contract for next year. So it's going to be a big thing to try and get rid of those players. Again, Graham Alexander was asked about it by Jamie Rayner on the radio, and he said that he has had conversations with 2 or 3 players and told them that the game time will be limited next year. So that's probably the biggest thing you're going to get, that he's told them, or he's not going to say go and find a new club, but hopefully that's what they're going to try and do. So a big thing on that the squad's still probably large, and I would imagine that to get the total number of players that we want in the squad next year, there's going to have to be outs before we can have too many ins.
Gaz, there's 3 players I've seen released today from Stockport who obviously I used to work for. I don't know if you've seen it, but Crowsdale, Hippolyte and Paddy Madden, all 3 of them, if I were Bradford, I'd just go out and get all 3 of them. I know that isn't going to happen. Well, for me, Crowsdale would be the one.
He's the one.
Top centre midfielder at that level. Paddy Madden's a proper goal scorer, but he's getting on a little bit now. I'd still go get him for a season because I think he'll replace the Derbyshire issue that you're probably having as that backup striker to still get you guaranteed goals. But I know I'm talking hypothetically here, but three top signings you'd have there.
Miles Hippolyte is a top League Two kind of wide man.
Play everywhere as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. He's primarily best on that left-hand side, but he can again fill in as a striker if needed. He's a cracking player. But as you say, Crowsdale for me, I agree with that, Jay. He's one of the three.
Yeah. Could he play League One? Should we go get him?
You know what? He probably could.
Could. Yeah.
I don't know why can't they have released him. If I'm honest, I don't really. I understand the other two.
To an extent.
Say again.
There's a few. All three have been released to an extent. People like I kind of get because I think he struggled with injuries a little bit this year. But Madden, I'm sure, was right up there with Stockport's top goal scorers this season.
There's a few City fans who've noticed Crowsdale being released and have talked about how he'd be an ideal signing. We've had Stockport fans saying to City fans online, go and have a look at Crowsdale. The issue that you've got is what type of centre mid is he, Jay? Is he an attacking mid? Is he a sitting mid?
No, he's more of a box to box.
Right.
He's not going to get you loads of goals, but he'll do the dirty work in there as well. But he links it all together. He's a bit of an all rounder, and he can score. He'll get you 4 or 5 a season kind of player. But he's tidy. He's tidy in possession. But it's more his energy, his kind of desire getting around the pitch. I just really like him. I think.
Is he young?
Mid-20s?
About 26, 27.
26. Yeah.
He's ideal then. He's ideal, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming to his prime.
I don't know, like I said, without getting players out, how much we'll be looking at centre mid, but he is somebody. If you were needing a central midfielder and we had space for a central midfielder, absolutely, we should be looking at Crowsdale. I 100% agree. He won't be short of offers. The issue, like I said, we've got is we've been playing like three midfielders. We've had Smallwood sitting, and then we've had 2 attack sort of 8s either side of him. Now, whether he'd fit into that, I don't know. But as a player, taking him just as a player on his own, 100%. Like I said, City fans have said it already, and we've had Stockport fans going on the City hashtag and the City message board saying he's a player you should be looking at. Hippolyte's a funny one because we actually had him on trial a few years ago and didn't sign him. Also, I know he can play a few different positions, but mainly he's a winger, and we don't play with wingers, I don't think this formation that Alexander's settled on is one that'll utilise wingers. Striker-wise, we're probably pretty solid, I would say. If we keep the strikers that we've got Cook, we've got Kavanagh, who looks a real find, and I think he can go on and get 15, 20 goals next year. We've got Jake Young to come back. Obviously, he was on fire at Swindon earlier in the season. So if we can get that form out of him, he's a goal scorer for us next year. If we can get that out of him, we can keep him. And then after that, your 4th choice is probably Tyler Smith. If you were going to move someone on, it'd be that 4th choice. Now, whether we have money to go and get a Paddy Madden to compete with Cook and Young and Kavanagh, I don't 100% know. But again, proven goal scorer at League 2 level. So, it just depends on, like I said, getting players out and creating room for where we want to bring players in. I think, before those players leaving that I say most fans could name, you're probably looking at cover for Smallwood. You're probably looking at a starting left back and probably a right-hand sided centre half as your priority. And then if you can get players out, then you might start looking at the other positions where we have got players there at the moment, but we could do with a bit of cover. I don't know. It's an interesting one. And like I say, it's going to come down to getting players out, I think, more than anything else.
I can tell you on Hippolyte, like, he really split opinion when County signed him. Like, the scouting group at the time, we were all one extreme or the other of whether to sign him or not. Like, there were some that were like, absolutely no, he's no good, because I think he came from Scunthorpe at the time. And then there were others that were like, yeah, he's a must sign for the squad. And he made over 120 appearances for County. Like, and that's at Conference and at League 2. So I think, and from what I understand, I mean, his wages have probably changed a little bit since then, but it'd be a cost-efficient option. He can play fullbacks, winger, and he can play striker. He literally can play anywhere. And so if you wanted, if you, in terms of then being able to play a number of positions and sort out a number of positions for you, it'd definitely be a good option.
I don't think we'll replace Derbyshire. I know you mentioned him before. He just worked he just hasn't been around the squad at all. He's been coaching. He's been on helping the coaching staff rather than being part of the playing squad. So I think those 4 players, those 4 strikers, will be what we'll go with, unless we move a Tyler Smith or a Jake Young out, which I don't know if we probably wouldn't want to move a Jake Young out, but whether he'll want to go, I don't know. Like I said, as a City supporter, the only one that you'd be willing to let go would be Tyler Smith, probably. But even he's probably a decent enough fourth choice striker. Liam Ridehouse has gone, which is where we have a gap now at left back. We were playing Liam, I've forgotten his first name, Richards. We've got a lad called Richards who's played. Sorry?
Is it Lewis?
Lewis Richards, that's it, Chris, thanks. Yeah, he came in from Wolves earlier in the season. He's sort of your backup left wing back. And then towards the end of the season, we were playing Tyreek Wright, the loanee from Plymouth. He was playing at left wing back. And it's been quite interesting. I don't think City fans agree with Graham Alexander that he said he'd like to sign Tyreek Wright permanently and he'd like to sign Daniel Oyegoki permanently. And that's probably, your left wing back and your right-hand-sided centre-half, two of the positions that we'd be looking at probably wanting to sign going into the summer. I'm not sure 100% City fans would agree that we should be signing those two loanees, but Graham seems to think that they might be the answer. So, that would again limit the sort of other players that we're being linked with and available to sign. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Like I say, a big part will be getting players out, I think, before we get players in.
Indeed, good stuff. Okay, well, we'll leave it there this evening. I want to thank everybody who's watched along on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, please do like and rate and review the podcast as well. I've been Stephen Brown. I want to thank everybody who's been on the show this evening: Stephen Downs, Jason Booker, Gareth Walker, and Chris Bell. We'll be back again later in the week. Myself and Jason will be back for some form of a post-match review for the playoff semi-final against Norwich. Can't wait for that
we
one.
We might even be back with Huddersfield stuff if Big Kev makes the announcements that we're expecting him to make. So,
yeah.
Watch along.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And we may have some content if we go to Emley as well for the Scunny game.
Spot on. Excellent. But we're going to leave you now with memories of Avifesh yesterday, and it can only be this clip that we're going to leave it on. It's, of course, Downs' penalty. We'll be back again. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, what a bat.